Hey there everyone. Sorry about not posting a video last week. I was completely meant to, but my tonsils are absolutely massive. It was just too painful for me to talk, and as these videos take about an hour for me to go through all the takes, I thought, I'll just give my voice a rest for a while. On top of that, the work has really been mounting up in Cambridge recently, and I don't know if you can see this there, but that is where my finger has been trailing along the page, and it's completely smoothed off from the amount that I've been writing. The life of a Cambridge medic it's a bit crazy. But yeah, so in this video, I'm going to talk about three questions, and this is because two of them are pretty massive, and I've divided them into sub questions. But just as an aside, quite a lot of people have been asking me if I'm still in touch with the people that I was in the documentary with, and how are they doing right now. The answer is yes, I am. I am still in touch with them. I'm still in touch with Declan and Warren. A bond like that isn't really broken, and we went through a lot together, and we did help each other through it. Yeah, as far as I can tell, we all seem to be doing okay. Just as an update, everything seems to be going okay. So yeah, the first question that someone has sent me is related to previous answers that I've been giving in other videos, and it's where I've been saying to try and talk to your friends and family about what's going on inside your head. And this person's been saying that they can't really talk to their friends because they don't feel as though they have any, and they are being bullied at the moment. And they can't talk to their parents because their parents are abusive. So yeah, in terms of you not having any friends, you don't really think about it because you're in such a bad place when when you have an eating disorder. But you do have people that you can turn to, and it's just a matter of having enough courage to talk to them about it. I remember when I was in a very, very bad place, I thought, there was no one to talk to. But I decided, against my better judgment, I suppose, that if I just talked to someone about what was going on inside my head, maybe they could help me. And I ended up just talking to someone in school who I didn't really have that much, previous contact with. But you know what? They imparted some of the best advice that I have ever received. So yeah, if you feel that you don't have any good friends that you can talk to someone who you may have had a previous contact with, and if they're a good person, they will sit and listen to you. In terms of bullying, I have talked about this in previous videos, and I can't remember what it is, but I'll post it up here, I suppose. In regards to this, bullying is a very difficult thing. It's a pain in the ass, to be honest. It causes so many problems, and the best thing that you can do is ignore it. Bullies have so many insecurities, and they feel that the best thing that they can do is impart negativity onto other people's lives to make themselves feel better. So if you make it seem that nothing, what they're doing to you isn't affecting you, they'll just stop. They tend to do that. You can relate it to a child. They ask for so much attention, and then if you just ignore them, they'll stop. It's as simple as that. However, in some cases, this doesn't happen, and alternative steps have to be taken. And in this case, sometimes you may be able to talk to the bully themselves if you feel that they will listen to you. And this is a completely subjective thing. You have to decide whether they will listen to you or not. And for example, if it's happening in the workplace rather than at school, they tend to be a lot more mature about it, and they may actually stop. However, if they don't, the best thing that you can then do is to talk to someone else about it who may be able to sort it out. So if you're in school, talk to teachers, talk to the headmaster, headmistress, whatever. If it's in the workplace, you can often file formal complaints because, bullying is unprofessional. And, there are so many routes that you can take to sort this out. The second point is about their family being abusive. And, it really hurts me to know that this kind of thing happens. But, it does happen. It's a simple fact of life, I suppose. But I'm going to post a load of organisations that I can find on the internet below here. And hopefully they'll offer you confidential helplines that you can talk to someone about the problem about your parents being abusive. and hopefully they'll be able to guide you to particular steps that you can take, or perhaps even if it's so severe, legal actions that you can take. If anyone has any other organisations that they want to impart on me, I will post them down there as well. The next question that I have received is from someone saying that they feel as though their parents are doing a lot of things behind their backs, and they feel that their parents are adding calories to their food in the forms of, putting butter into things. And I decided to separate this into two separate answers, and that is, the paranoia of people thinking that their parents are doing things when they actually aren't, and when the parents are doing things. So yeah, the first point, I'll relate this to an example. When I was, pretty bad, I think maybe 2 months before I was admitted, I remember going to a boat show with my auntie and uncle. And we had, we were going to have lunch, and at that stage, all I was eating was jacket potatoes with beans. And I saw that there was a jacket potato stall, so I said to her, I want a jacket potato with beans. I don't want any butter on it. Please, can you get this for me? And she said, okay, go and sit down. I went and sat down, and she started bringing it back to me, and all of a sudden decided to turn. And I thought, well, what's she doing here? Is she going to put butter in it? I don't know. So I kind of ran up to her and pretended as though I wanted to say something. But, at that stage, my head was up in the clouds. I just looked like a completely spaced out teenager. And she knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing. But she wasn't doing anything. She just saw a leaflet. This kind of paranoia can get to you. And I suppose if you approach it a bit more rationally, you realise that they aren't doing anything. And this does, to some degree, require therapy. But I suppose this paranoia is associated with you not having enough trust in the people that you care about. So I suppose a very good thing that you could do is to build up that trust by performing activities with your family. And this might be just going out for a day. I remember going to the cinema with my dad quite a lot when I was at my worst, and I felt, I can only trust this man. I couldn't trust my mum, mainly because, she had her own problems, but this is because I didn't really have that much contact with her. So I suppose if you have more contact with the people that you care about, this trust can escalate. Scenario 2 is related to people who is related to where your parents are actually doing things. And I suppose the best thing that you can do is approach your parents and saying, I know what you're doing, and I feel as though this isn't good for me. Can you stop it, please? And if your parents do care, they will say, okay, let's try and approach this a different way. And this way, again, the trust will build up. Because, my dad was doing the same thing, I think, adding food to my food. And this is because he felt helpless at the time. He didn't know what to do. And if ever he approached me about it, I would shout at him. I would be so abusive. I'd be so destructive that he couldn't approach it. And he felt that he had to do everything behind my back. So, you have to feel for your parents at the same time. And the best thing that you can do is to approach them in a non-destructive manner. Just try and talk to them rationally and say, you aren't helping, please can we approach it a different way? The second point is I want to relate it, I want to talk to I'm going to direct to the parents who are doing this, and I advise you not to do it. I advise you not to do things behind your child's back. And again, this is often because they know what you're doing, because they're very, very vigilant. But also, it's not a very good way of approaching it. You should try and talk to them and build up the trust. And you can't do that by doing things behind their back. The very last question that I have received is from someone asking me if the voice in their head will eventually go away. And the answer is yes, it will. I haven't had this voice in the back of my head telling me what to do for years now. Over summer, I came to Cambridge with a friend who I was in the inpatient unit with what is it, 5, 6 years ago now. And we were just talking about the eating disorder. And both of us were saying, you know what? I don't really understand what I was doing at the time. And I suppose that shows how far we've come. If we see our own eating disorders as rational, our own, you know, our past thoughts as completely stupendous, weird, I suppose, it just shows how far we've come. And you will get to this point, I assure you. But I said this in the last video, you cannot take too big a step in your treatment. And this is because, you know, if you present yourself with a mountain of a challenge, you might feel a bit disheartened if you don't achieve it straight away. So, as I said in the last video, you should try and have little battles, and every time you'll feel a bit better, and then you can counteract the next battle, and you'll find that you'll conquer that mountain a lot quicker. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of this video. I'll try and release another video next week. I said this last week, but I'll try, I promise. I'll try. But yeah, I'll see you later.